Hey everybody, my name's Kevin, and when I was asked to do this, I was like, God, I'm going to talk about physics, and physics is boring as hell. But it's really not to someone like me, and to talk in 5 minutes about it, you need something that you can demonstrate, and you need something that will really grasp people's attention, because when I was a little kid, I thought I didn't like science, and then I saw someone demonstrating Oobleck to me, non-Newtonian fluid, and from there on I was hooked, and I wanted to be a physicist. So first off, what are non-Newtonian fluids? Non-Newtonian fluids are fluids that viscosity changes non-linearly in response to a change in the shear force applied to it. So, no biggie. And you can do kind of cool things with them, one of which allows Science Jesus to do his thing there, and I'll get to that later on. So yeah, but what are they actually? And it turns out that way more things are non-Newtonian than are Newtonian. So the only Newtonian fluids I could actually think of that's viscosity goes up linearly with a change in the force applied are stuff like is water and air. Beyond that, loads of different things are non-Newtonian. Blood is non-Newtonian. It gets thicker when you put a shear force on it. Saliva is also non-Newtonian. Most bodily fluids are very non-Newtonian. You can fill that in yourself. So if we go on. But a really good everyday example of a non-Newtonian fluid is wall paint. So when you get paint onto a brush, doesn't it go really thick and stay on the brush more or less and maybe not drip off? I've been caught out in this before. And it probably won't drip off. But when you start to paint it onto the wall, it gets really thin and goes onto the wall easily, doesn't it? Yeah, so it gets thinner, and that's because of the shear force. It's what we call a shear thinning fluid. So yeah, and then And then shampoo is also a non-Newtonian fluid. I can't for the life of me remember whether it thickens or thins, so you can just not try that while you're at picnic because you won't have shampoo. But try it when you get home and let me know. But yeah, next slide. Okay, so the one I'm going to talk about today in depth, I could go on about non-Newtonian fluids for ages, is this stuff. It's called Oobleck, and it was actually named by Dr. Seuss in one of his books, Bartholomew and the Oobleck. Fun fact about that, it's one of only 2 books Dr. Seuss ever wrote that wasn't in rhyme. He actually, he just wrote a proper book for once. And it's about a guy who gets fed up with the rain and he wants something else to fall from the sky, so he gets this really thick, gloopy liquid called Oobleck. Not once in the book does Dr. Seuss mention that it's non-Newtonian, so the man calls himself a doctor, But yeah, so that's where it gets its name. This is what Oobleck actually does. So you see it's just this white gloop and it's flowing around. Okay, so when I just rest my finger on it, I can slide into it like it's any other liquid. But if I press on it hard and try and drag my fingers through it, it turns totally solid. I would try and pick up a ball of it and show you. If you want afterwards, you can try it yourselves. It's just the last time I tried that, I totally destroyed a stage. And if you try and scrub it off, it turns solid because you're putting a shear force on it. And it's actually a pain. So all Oobleck is cornstarch and water. And it was discovered in the 1930s, and people just thought it was like a scientific curiosity for about 70 years, because it was like, well, it's cool, there's nothing really special about it, how does it actually work? And there was all these theories, like it was down to, fancy quantum, everything's down to quantum mechanics. It is down to quantum mechanics, but they thought it could only be explained with quantum mechanics, but it turns out it's way more simple. And in 2012, 2 guys called Heinrich Jaeger and Mike Waitukitis explained it, and in this paper, they actually got into Nature in the paper just for explaining Oobleck because it was unknown for so long, and getting into Nature is like the science equivalent to playing Madison Square Garden, you're a big dick if you pull it off. So yeah, how it actually works is as you drag a finger through the cornstarch, the tiny grains push water out of the way, and water rushes in behind them as well, and the drag in between each droplet goes up and up and up to the point that they're locked into a solid lattice, and it just gets so thick that it almost becomes solid. So it gets to the point that I can do something like pick up some of it like this, you can see it's solid, and second I release, it turns liquid again. So again, just try it yourselves because I'm making a mess already. But yeah, next please. Okay, so, when I was doing all the research for this, I was like, well, who pays for this research? And if you look at the end of the paper, you just see a lovely little quote there. It was supported by the US Army. The US Army paid to discover how Oobleck works. And that's because if you think about it, I'm going to disagree with Francis. Francis saying that the mantis shrimp could make perfect body armor. Oobleck is the perfect body armor because it will mold perfectly to your body. You can move, it moves perfectly as a liquid. But at the second you put a force on it, it turns solid and it can stop a bullet. It actually can stop a bullet. There's videos of it online. And the US Army want to make it into, you know, the perfect body armor, which is cool. And if you notice here, when I punch it, it turns solid and then turns liquid again. That's how Science Jesus managed to walk across the water. There's also videos of people walking across swimming pools filled with it, so you can walk across Oobleck. But yeah, try again, or is that the end? Yeah, that's it. So yeah, I hope I taught you a little bit about non-Newtonian fluids. If you want to try it out, I have a bit here. But yeah, thank you.